Hey y'all, I'm gonna try and give a short description of just this small stuff that I know about the shooter module. So the first thing, I don't know if you have in your sights, y'all are doing first person shooters, so you want to make sure it's this camera center at distance, and then that's like the main thing you want. All this set here: human FK, character bone position, self, human head. This is actually the default whenever you create a new site. So I just created this one, and here's our default. So and the next thing you're going to want to do is come into the shooter weapon scriptable, and you're going to scroll down to where it says sites. Now the first thing you're going to notice whenever you create a new weapon, if you're going from scratch, is that I don't think it even has a site in it. Let me see here. I could be wrong, but I don't think it starts with a site. So setting that up is pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So I'll show you that. Whenever you come down here and go to sites, okay, yeah, it'll say my site ID and it's got none. So what you're gonna do first, I like to rename this to default. I name this to default, and then next thing we'll do is come over here. Let's say use my example site, and you set that like that. So then now that's not the only thing you're going to want to do to attach a site to a weapon. Um, the next thing you're going to want to do, let's just use this empty object just for example purposes. So um, actually, what I'll do is come over here to the weapon, and then on equip, site, set site ID, player, shooter weapon, and actually we can just go current equipped just for to make it a little simpler, and then we'll call it default. Okay. Now, next thing, when you have an input button, let's say mouse press right, and then we'll set your site ID to the next one that you would put in that list. So let's call it aim ADS. Now you're going to come over to the weapon and add that. So I'm just going to wait. I'm not really making a weapon right here. I'm just using this for example. So then you drag in your aim ADS and name this aim ADS. And then you come over here and make another trigger. Input mouse release right, and this you can actually put this stuff on the weapon prefab so that it only does this whenever it's equipped. So then you say site, set site ID, and then make sure these are set to current equipped. Another way you can do this is just have this empty object in your scene and have both of these set to current equipped, and make sure that you have the same site IDs on every weapon. So that's, just right there. That's basically how you set up sites. And they're pretty straightforward, but sometimes you'll have issues where the muzzle will be causing you issues. So I don't know if I've already said that, but right here in the weapon scriptable, you're going to take your rotation. So you guys have been saying they've been aiming off to the left. So what you're going to do is like say 20 or something here in the Z rotation, and just kind of tweak that until it's kind of where you want it. But also, I noticed what you guys were saying. One of you guys was saying that well, you didn't understand how to set the weapon prefab. So basically, first what we'll do is we'll go into play mode. Give this a second. My computer is not the best. I don't know if I can pause the recording. Un momento. I don't do a lot of video editing, so we'll just have to sit here and wait for this. This might take a second. Okay, here we go.
Help, I've been turned into a turret.
Paid for
Just
this? No.
This is my little project I'm working on here. Let's give it just a minute. 0.6 FPS, yes. So, let me real quick give myself the ability to wield and turn the music off. Okay, so first what we'll do is equip the bow, and then what we're going to do is, you don't want it paused, but I have to do this real quick to play focused, and then okay. Now we'll equip the bow, and then we'll go to, have to click over here to make sure. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now the bow will actually be any like shooter weapon is going to be equipped on your hands. So is it spine? Yeah. Right shoulder. It might be right hand or left hand. I'm not sure. This bow here. Okay, I didn't mean to do that. Okay. Okay, let's see. It's a little wonky the way I have this set up. Okay, so it's not in the right hand. It's probably on the left. Here it is. Okay. So what you're going to do is come into the scene and find the player. And let's say you move it around until you want it where you've got it. And then you see the transform here. You'll just copy this. Or actually, the best way to do this is just to take a screenshot. Oh, of course, that just unequipped my bow because I've got it where it's it loves to make that go away whenever. So anyway, you just take a screenshot. I have to print screen and then go to paint because the way I've got my game set up, if it's if the app is out of focus, then it will basically pause the game, and pausing the game unequips any weapons. Re-equips them when you, it should re-equip them when you resume, but it's not wanting to do that. So you'd basically just take a screenshot. Yours might be easier for you because you don't have all this weirdness set up. But so you just take the snipping tool in Windows and just kind of have that there. And then you're going to come out of play mode. And then your handle, you'll go to your handle and just kind of pass in all of these values except for the scale, because the scale doesn't matter. But that's basically what you'll do. You take your position and your rotation and paste the, well, you can't really paste them, but you have to like say 0.885. You'd type that here, 0.06 here, 0.03, and then so on and so forth. You're -90. So that's what you would do to use a handle, and that's basically, once you do that, it's done and done. No big deal. Now I can't really provide a super in-depth tutorial for Shooter because I myself am still kind of learning it, and but that's basically the basics. I mean, there's not a whole lot to it once you get down to the just kind of the nitty-gritty. Make sure, like, some of you may or may not know, the layers is very important. If you have, like, say you have something on with an enemy layer, and you have this unticked, then the weapon will actually not hit the enemies. It'll just pass right through them. So make sure you have the layers selected that you want to shoot at. And then all this stuff here is it's pretty straightforward. I mean, so like your projectile is what comes out of the gun. Fire is how the firing works. So single is like a pistol, bang, bang, bang. You have to click each time. Burst is, you know, obviously we've all played a lot of video games. We know what a burst shot is, full auto. And a charge is basically, you can set a lot of cool stuff with this. So like if you say auto release is true, then if you hold it down for a certain amount of time, it'll automatically shoot, which is pretty cool. Let's see what else. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Just your audio files, your muzzle effect. You can use a prefab. See where you want over projectile. Accuracy is pretty fun to mess with. And your spread and all that stuff. And then a lot of this stuff, like this here, the title string name doesn't really matter unless you are referencing to it, which I don't a lot in my games. And then description, same thing, and icon and color, because I actually use the inventory module to equip. Turned off again because for some reason if I don't have any audio coming through the speakers, then it decides it doesn't want to stay on. So shell, this will actually eject from the gun whenever you shoot it. That you have your prefab here, and this position and rotation is just how, like, when it starts, I believe. And then your force and torque of being released. Your reloads. I haven't really messed with a lot of this stuff because I like I said, the game I'm working on is using just turrets, which they don't really need to reload. They just, like, I give them like a set time that they'll shoot, and then they'll wait for a little minute, and then they'll shoot again, and they have infinite ammo. So, but reloads. Let's see here. These are, yeah, this is like got all the animation timelines and stuff, and I don't really mess with those. I just kind of tend to, but I mean, I have added new animations. So it's basically, if you're familiar with the Melee module, it's the same kind of thing. Wait, no, it's this one. So like, for example, I made this brute attack, and you just basically put the animation in there, and then you can edit the animation, and just, you know, on this little timeline here. Let's see what else. But like, yeah, so like that that issue with the rotation of where the gun's aiming, it could either be here in the weapon scriptable or in your sight, which is basically just this stuff. So make sure your character model isn't all wonky, like it knows where its head is and everything. Like, just check the bones. So I mean, let's see here. Like, yeah, you should be able to see the bones, all these joints and stuff in your model, and they should all be in the right place. As far as anything else, I'm not sure what else to cover here. The crosshair, this kind of stuff works just like the inventory bag prefabs. Like, you just have a prefab that you pass into the scriptable, and then it's just a canvas. Yeah, I'm not really this is actually probably the first tutorial I've ever made, so bear with me for not being like super engaging and stuff, because I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know if maybe the states have anything to do with some of that stuff, like so yeah, these probably go into your sites, I believe. Let me see. AK aim. Yeah, so you got your state here. So make sure if you're using a state that your animations are set up properly, and also that you have the right masks set up. So like maybe you've got the wrong mask options if it's aiming weird. Like, I don't know, most of the weapons that I've made, like I said, just for turrets. So like as far as the player, I've only made one weapon, and I used I basically copied the bow from the examples and just tweaked a bunch of stuff. So basically, like you saw me shooting it earlier, it was basically shooting explosives and stuff like that. So but I did change a few things other than just that. Like basically I gave it its own site, so this one here. So basically what I did is I come down and to trajectory, yes, to trajectory, I set all this up. So these, like anytime you see like it says condition, you can actually mess with that. So like I don't know, it's just trial and error for me for the most part. Like you got, this is can hit. You just add like any kind of conditions there, and this is where I tend to just put only the visual effects and audio effects and stuff like that. Usually what I'll do is I'll put the effects of what it is on the enemies themselves. So like with this explosive bow, the effect is actually on a trigger on here, not on shoot hit actually. It's on where is it? It's on explosion, I believe. It's either that, yeah, it's explosion. And I have other explosions that are triggered in the game, so yeah. I don't know. I just kind of tend to just mess around with stuff until I figure it out. But 18 minutes, geez. I hope that was helpful. If not, don't watch any more of my videos. All right, y'all have a good one.